When everyone's sat around, gathered around the fire over night time, especially after a good hard day's work, you know, we'll sit around, we'll exchange good old stories, and we'll have a laugh and a giggle, you know. Sometimes we'll just sit and have a good chat, and it's just really good. It's good for your mental well-being. It just makes you feel good, and there's nothing better. There really isn't. You know, sitting around with your friends in nature and just, you know, relaxing. You can't beat it. My name's Jason. We're Military and Emergency Services Help, or MESH for short. What we do is we provide outdoor spaces in various locations, and it's aimed at military and emergency services personnel and their spouses and their families, so that they can get out into nature. And we do it with a bit of a bushcraft theme. We meet once a month, and the idea is that they can get out into nature with their family and friends, and just have a bit of relaxing time, you know. It's good for their mental health. Okay, so what we're doing today, we're building our base camp, ready to start a whole new venture. We're putting the fire pit in and then clearing some understory in the main woods where we can use that for camping and wild camping, and doing some bushcraft instruction in and around the area there. So setting this up, we're breaking ground, and we're looking to have this established probably summer next year. What I want to do is put something a bit more permanent in. So we're actually going to do a breeze block fire pit. When we're building the fire pit, there's a few considerations. So first of all, it's going to be where we're setting up our base camp. So when you're setting up a base camp, you know, you want to, so when you're in the woods, I spend a lot of time looking up as well as around to make sure there's no heavy limbs, you know, or weaker dead trees nearby. Especially like trees like beech, you know, beech they've got a habit of suddenly dropping some of the big limbs. So if you can avoid being under a beech tree, then you give that a wide berth. And what we do is we clear a good space so that there's nothing that can catch fire. There's no trees nearby. Make sure there's no roots underneath where you're putting the fire. You know, some of the spruce roots and things like that, they can catch flames and burn in the ground, so you've got to clear them. Nice flat area is good, especially if you're going to be cooking on the fire, so you want to get a nice level area so you can put your pots and pans and lay them flat. And yeah, just give yourself a good amount of space with a good airflow rolling around there as well. When it comes to things like PTSD and mental health issues, I mean, I myself suffered in the past from mental health issues, and I found that being outdoors just helped me, and it helped me out a lot and tremendously. So I wanted to offer that to other people who suffered, you know. And when people are suffering from mental health, it's not just them who are going through it, it's their spouses, it's their partners, their children, all the people around them, they're affected too. So what we aim to do is we invite them to bring their families, their partners along as well. Get everyone out there just enjoying themselves and chatting with each other, and just, you know, expressing any problems or issues that they've got. We'll do that. We won't offer therapy. We just think woodlands and being outdoors is therapy in itself.
Okay, so what we're doing is we're trying to lay some concrete blocks straight to the soil. It's never going to be a silk purse. However, we've got to get as level as physically possible, purely because it'll annoy you when your cup of tea spills over. Or something simple as putting the frying pan on the side. If the fat's always to one side, it's not ideal. So we're trying to get as level as possible. So before we put the blocks in, we'll just check the bottom of our soil, see if it's somewhere near, and that is between the lines. So now hopefully when we pop our blocks on top, it will be somewhere close. So just lay them in. Give them a bit of a wobble to get them as straight as physically possible. We've got a bit of a lump there, so we've got a root just here, I'm guessing. So could you just scratch that bit out there with a mattock, please? Just that little lump there where it's rocking. That's probably about right. It'll just contain the fire, so it's in one place. You've got a bit of a wind. The embers won't blow everywhere. Also, if you've got a bit of a wind, you won't lose the embers quite so quickly. And it just gives a designated fire area, so everybody knows that anything within that area is going to be hot. If you had a peatier soil, which obviously burns, then you'd have to be taking your fire off the ground somewhat. So you'd probably be laying these on the soil and putting your fire on top of the blocks, and with sand underneath the blocks as well, because you're going to get some heat transfer through the block into the peaty soil. If the soil wasn't so loamy, If it's more clay in it, you will with sand underneath as well, because otherwise you're going to be having a fire in a pool of water. And as this area is very dry, with a good big ditch next to it, it's very well drained, so there shouldn't be a problem with it.
We're just finishing off the final touches now. We've got the fire pit in. We've got the nice flat bits on the end here, so when you're cooking over the fire pit and you put a pan down or a frying pan, it stays relatively level, so everything's not on a funny angle. We've also got these blocks in here as well, and the idea of them is they're movable, and we're going to put a grate over the top. So what we can do is get some embers and scoop them underneath, so we can have various temperature control between this side and that side of the fire when we're cooking on top of it. What the guys are doing right now is they're just finishing off some benches. So we're just putting these on the outside. It'll do two things. It'll give us somewhere to sit where we can get the warmth and the fire, but actually create a physical barrier as well. So when people are coming around the fire pit, they're not tempted to walk over the top of it, or they're not going to be in a position where they can fall directly into the embers. I think one of the things that we found, there's always something to do in the woods. So, people, you can sit around and poke a fire with a stick if you want to do that, that's fine. Or you can be as busy and as active as you want to be, because there's always something that needs doing when you're in woods, something needs maintained, and you're always up to something. A lot of veterans, they like being outdoors, they spent a lot of time outdoors, and it's good for them. And we've all got a similar mindset, and we like to sit around and share stories and take the mick out of each other as we do, and just put a smile on each other's faces.